Okay, hello.
Hello.
We're live. Thanks for coming, Kyle. This is Live with Gabriela, and today I have the pleasure to have with me another introvert, Kyle Schaffman. Sofman. Sorry.
That's right. That's okay. I answer to anything except Mister.
Okay,
I,
that's
I
okay.
just have to draw the line there. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
Can you tell us a few words about yourself briefly, because we'll go in more details after. Just in a few sentences. Who is Kyle?
Kyle is often called quirky. I say it's interesting or unique.
Mhm.
I let's see. I love the color purple. These are random facts about me that people just need to know, I guess. I love sunflowers, and I'm trying to grow some successfully, some not.
Mhm.
I am a singer, and I've taught elementary school music for about 24 years.
Mhm.
And I manage a program in a low income community where we bring music to schools for free
Mhm.
and to children who would never have access to music education otherwise. And that's me. It's a piece of me. Is there anything else you want to know?
Maybe we'll find out more when we start the discussion. So, you said you're a nonprofit program director, music educator, specialist, arts advocate,
Hmm.
advocate for underdeserved communities, a singer. And how we've met, it was on LinkedIn when I posted something on Introverts Academy website, and you made a comment that you're not afraid to share that you're an introvert. And I became curious if you were like this all the time, or it was kind of a journey to get here. And what did you answer? Why you? How you got here?
Well, first of all, I said that because I mean it. And I think being an introvert is not a negative thing.
Mhm.
And it's part of me. It's not all of me. It doesn't define me. And I don't have a problem saying, yes, I'm an introvert. And I'm also a singer and a teacher. And I do the chicken dance. And if anyone wants to learn it, I can teach you. Um, you know, but I think part of what got me to where I am, if that's what you're asking, I think, is just realizing that it's okay to be who you are and that it's like I said, it's not negative. It's not the whole me. It's a part of me. It's like I'm a vegetarian, I love purple, and I'm an introvert. And
Mhm.
all of those things are me. And I think, growing up and becoming a little more confident made it easier to accept that I'm an introvert and I'm not necessarily shy and you should participate more, you should talk more, you should go out more and all the shoulds.
Mhm.
No, I shouldn't. I should be who I am. And yeah, I'm an introvert and I can't even believe I'm here talking to the whole world about it. But here I am.
Yeah, and you're very comfortable saying that. I want
Well,
to share. Yeah, if you want to add something, go ahead.
no, I am comfortable saying it because it's just a part of me. And I mean, I don't walk around yelling out, I'm an introvert. But, if I see a post, I also don't want other people to feel ashamed of being an introvert or like they shouldn't say that because people think introverts sit in their house in the dark and never come out,
Mhm.
which is entirely not true. I mean, we can be just as social and outgoing as other people. It's just that, we need some time to ourselves to recharge and then come back and be social again, or teach in the classroom again, or be around lots of people, stand on stage and sing. It takes a lot of energy. And then I need to go home and recharge and get that energy back.
Yeah,
And
so
so,
true.
yeah.
I I'm Gabriela Casineanu, and I wrote several books. One of them is Quiet Lessons for the Introvert Soul. And for this book, I interviewed 11 introverts. Because after my first book, which was a book about introverts and job search, I realized that some people don't know about introversion. And some people didn't know if they are introverts or extroverts. And other people say, oh, don't even use the word introverts in the title because it has a bad connotation. But I didn't care. My first book, it's Introverts Leverage Your Strengths for an Effective Job Search, because I wanted introverts to be attracted to that book.
Mm-hmm.
And since I noticed that there are so many people who don't know about the characteristics of introverts and extroverts and how complementary they are and a lot of other things, I interviewed these people. And what came out of this book when I was going through the interviews, that each of them went through a journey and they use their strengths to overcome challenges. And I call this a hero journey, introvert's hero journey. Do you consider yourself that you've been through such a journey as an introvert to get to this point?
Yes. I hadn't thought about it as a journey until you said that, but it was. I mean, I think about when I was a kid, and I think I posted part of this, that I was painfully shy. I mean, I really didn't talk to a lot of people. I didn't participate a lot in class. And the comments I got on my report card was always, needs to participate more. But, I observed a lot, and I'm still the kind of person who likes to observe first. And then when I'm comfortable, then I'm going to do that task or perform that song or whatever it is. And I think, part of what helped me too is getting into teaching, because you have to get out of yourself. You have to be engaging, and you have to connect with those children. And you can't look like you're scared. I mean, you can be scared inside, but you have to find a way not to look scared. And I found that once I figured that out, it was more fun. And I realized that it was easier and it was fun. And I'm still an introvert, and I may still be nervous all inside, like maybe now. I'm not telling anybody, but I'm just saying. And being a singer in particular, performing, it's interesting to me. And I just started thinking about it in the past maybe 2 years, that part of singing is actually climbing into somebody else's personality and somebody else's mind. So in a sense, it's not you. You're expressing the words of someone else, and you're playing a character. And so it's easier, again, to, okay, I'm going to look like I'm confident, or look like, I'm expressing this fear or love or whatever I'm singing about, when in reality, if it were me, I might have a harder time. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's sort of like playing a role.
Yeah, you kind of become a persona.
It's still, it still takes energy, and I still need that time to decompress after I'm finished. But I think a lot of that really helped me. And I started thinking about how I feel when I do those things, especially teaching. And, coming out of that shell sometimes is really nice. But I also realized that I need to go back in. I need to have that time, and that's okay. And people, I think we were talking about how sometimes people think introverts, think of it as a negative thing, or they think we sit in a dark home with no lights on and we never talk to anybody and we hide, which really isn't true. I think it took me a long time, though, to realize all of this and to be able to put it into words, how I became, who I am today. And I'm still, I might still be shy inside. I'm still an introvert, but I'm not painfully shy. I will speak. I mean, I'll talk to people. I will talk to people I don't know. I would, come onto a chat. Maybe 40 years ago, I probably never would have done that. You would not have gotten me on here. No way, no how. Nope. Like, no way. But, I think getting older and a little more confident helps.
I think also getting through different experiences help you kind of get out of your comfort zone, and it became bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
So you become more comfortable with situations that you were not comfortable before. So that's why I'm talking about this process, this
Yeah.
journey
Yeah.
that we're in, that helps
Mhm.
us uh, be out in the world and do things that we love to do,
Mhm.
and still have time to go and recharge, but we're not defined by the time we are by ourselves,
Mhm.
the time that we take to recharge our batteries. We're defined by what we really want to do and what we're doing beside that. So I've
Mhm.
noticed that a lot of people, like you're saying, emphasize that introverts are not social, just want to stay with their book inside their home, not talking with other people. But actually, that is kind of our time to reconnect with ourselves and recharge. And we need that in order to go out again and do whatever we want to do. And
Absolutely.
you mentioned do you like to work with kids? Do you like singing?
Mhm. I do.
So, what I notice when I start looking more into introversion and what motivates us, if you're doing things that we love, that we're passionate about, we get the courage to put ourselves out there. That's how I started to do workshops, for example. I switched from engineering to coaching, and I start getting one-on-one clients, but I wanted to help more people at the same time, and I noticed the impact coaching had on me, and I asked an organization, can I do a workshop with your clients? I was frightened just of the idea, but I wanted to help people. So I pushed myself to go out there, and I created the environment so I'm more comfortable. We were sitting around the table. So I feel
Mhm.
that collaboration styles that we introverts like more than confrontation or imposing something on others. So that's
Absolutely.
how I became better and better in talking to people, in the leading workshops, in even doing these live webinars or
Mhm.
live interviews. So
Yeah, and one thing is it's all how it's done, and I have to say you're making it very comfortable.
mhm,
And I feel like, okay, maybe I came out of my comfort zone a little bit, but you're making it comfortable. So I feel like, okay, I'm just talking to somebody and it's just a conversation. And if the whole world is listening, great. If nobody's listening, that's great too. It's okay.
of course.
But you have made it incredibly comfortable, and that really helps. And I think that's through my life I've experienced things like that I would normally say I'm not doing that. But then somebody has a way of making it comfortable and not so scary, and you do it, and then you live through it, and you think, "Oh, well,
It
that was
wasn't
kind
so
of fun. I lived through that. It was fun. I could do that again.
bad. Mhm.
Maybe not in 5 minutes, but, I could do that again."
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things like I can perform on stage again. I didn't die. I didn't throw up on my shoes,
Mhm.
which is a thought that goes through my head. I'll tell you a secret. It's always like right when it's before the first note, when I'm listening to the introduction, right as I'm going to start, I am positive I'm going to throw up on my shoes.
Mhm.
Has it ever happened? No. Once I get started, I'm good. I'm like,
I think
okay.
it's more about what we're thinking in that moment. It's not about we really feel that way. We kind of induce ourselves into those kind of feelings because we're thinking to all the negative things that could
Hmm.
happen, or am I in the right mood, in the right place, in the right
Yeah,
frame of mind, and all that worrying. It's affecting our feelings in that moment instead of putting them
exactly.
aside and just like you're saying, go there and you can do it.
Yeah, it's true. And, there was a time when I was terrified to perform on stage.
Mhm.
And it wasn't because I couldn't do it. I was just terrified. And I remember being so nervous the entire time. And it wasn't just that I think I'm going to throw up on my shoes and then it was all fine.
Mhm.
It was like, oh my gosh, am I almost done? What's the next word? I can't remember it. Ah. But, slowly, slowly,
Mhm.
I became a lot more comfortable. And I think when I became more comfortable, it was more fun. Like I was talking about teaching, you have to engage with the kids. You can't be scared. You can't look like you're terrified because then they're not having fun and they're not sure what's happening. And why does my teacher look so scared and hiding behind the chair? So you feel like, oh, if I come out of my shell a little bit, this is a lot more fun. And there are comfortable ways to do that. And yeah. So
what you're talking about is removing the stress. And what I do usually when I have to do a workshop or a webinar, I just surrender. I say, I'm already prepared and I will share whatever the audience needs to hear. I get inspired to do whatever it takes. So I kind of relieve the pressure from myself to relieve that stress and just be there. And when you are in the moment, you get ideas what you can do. You not imagine something new is coming, a new exercise, or how to respond to someone who asks a question you never heard. So you are in the moment and you can respond to what's happening. You're kind of dancing in the moment when you surrender to whatever it's out there.
Yeah. And I think it's all about, it's okay to be uncomfortable. You can be uncomfortable and sit with that and learn how it feels and learn how to get through it. And then suddenly it's not that uncomfortable or it's not unmanageable.
Yeah.
It just becomes, okay, I can do this. I lived through it last time and the time before.
Yeah, and
I will live again.
Time and it's becoming easier. That's why I put this spiral. We have it on Introverts Academy website as well to reflect on that introvert's hero journey, because you go through an experience, your comfort zone is expanding, you become a little bit more comfortable, you go through that experience again, you become more comfortable with it. So you grow with every experience you put yourself through.
Definitely.
So that's why I kept it here on.
I like that. It's a good visual.
This one?
Yeah.
We have another visual that we're using in Introverts Academy. Since I'm a coach, I'm using a coaching approach, the holistic approach of the Wheel of Life. So in any video course, in my books as well, I'm using this holistic approach. So you look at a topic from different perspectives. So we're talking about career or business, professional development, relationship with self, relationship with others, money, personal. I don't see what is there. Environment.
I'm like, it's
environment,
okay.
holistic health, and hobbies. So there are different aspects of our life. So when you get stuck in one, you can help yourself by focusing on the others. So that's why I like to talk to introverts like you, because from what you shared so far, you're not just a professional who is just focused on work. You talked about other things that help you be who you really are, be the whole person. And, I have another question for you. What helped you to get here along your journey?
I think part of what helped me is realizing that I can set boundaries. And what I mean by that is I can spend time with friends, and I can also say, I have this much time. I'm free from 2 until 5. If somebody says, hey, can you go for coffee on Thursday? Sure, I can go anytime between 2 and 5. And I don't owe anybody an explanation. I don't have to say what I have at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock might be I need to go home and recharge my batteries because that was a long day. I had to go to school in the morning. And it's, as my friend would say, I'm peopled out.
I like that.
So I know, I'm peopled out. So I think that really helped me. And 99.999% of the time, nobody asks you, well, what do you have to do at 5? Where are you going? I can't stay past 5. And I think, well, would I ask someone that? No. And, so we go at whatever time, and at 5 o'clock, okay, I have to go. And I realized that most people, like I said, they don't care. They're just happy to see you. And it doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, yes, I'm free every day, all week, anytime you want. That stresses me out. Like, I can't do that. And I mean, I have learned that I don't always have to say yes either, that I can say no. And I don't have to give a reason. I can say, no, I can't do that day. How about next week? And my reason might be that I have 3 social things that week, and I don't want to add a 4th one because I know that that's too much for me.
Yeah.
So I say, well, you know what? I can't do this week, but what about next week? I'm free on, Wednesday. And so I'm not saying I can't do it. Bye.
Yeah, nice. I like that you also offer an alternative. So it's not just I'm saying no, you also offer something else. So that's nice. I'm doing a lot of things myself. I'm building the Introverts Academy. I have my coaching business. I'm doing other stuff. And I see you're doing a lot of things as well. How do you juggle with all these roles?
Sometimes it's hard. And there are some weeks, like I said, I like to plan my weeks carefully and not have too many people-y things, as they say. But sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes I have 3 meetings that week and I have to go observe a teacher and I need to, do a Zoom call with someone. I just recently, yesterday, hired a teacher. I had to do a couple of interviews. And for me, it's draining. It's a lot. And some weeks I can't do anything about having a lot of things. I needed to hire these teachers. I needed to hire them fast. And so I knew that, okay, I'm going to save these days. And I know it was a lot and I wouldn't have saved that many, but I knew I need to get this done in this space of time. Let me look at my calendar. And I blocked out certain times on certain days and decided those were the days that I had time and I would offer those times. So and nobody said no.
So. I like you seem to be very organized with your schedule, with...
Yeah, I try to be organized because I've learned that really helps me. And like I said, if I don't have to, if I don't have to have 5 things in a week, I don't. I try to spread them out. And that even includes going to observe the teachers. And I have superstar teachers right now, so observing them is just awesome. I don't have much to say except you're awesome. Great.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a beginner teacher I just hired, and I'm actually really excited. This is not a very introvert thing to say, but I'm very excited to work with a new teacher. I love watching them get better, and I love just helping them and giving them ideas and watching what they do and say, okay, if you do this next, this will be really great and it'll reinforce what you just taught. So, yeah.
I'm curious why you say it's not an introvert thing, because from what I know about introverts, they like to help others. They are great observers. They have great ideas. They see new things to improve. It's not just... it has to be done A, B, C, D. You can see from different perspectives, and you have this collaborative approach. You're not just telling you should do this, and that. If not, something bad is happening. So I see a lot of introvert characteristics that you're using. So why did you say that is not an introvert thing?
I guess sometimes and maybe this is my going back to that stereotype of an introvert, that an introvert would be too scared to say something to another person. Well, maybe you can do this instead. That introvert, that stereotypical introvert would not be okay with it or be too scared or would think, oh, well, the person's going to think that's stupid and, you're not very outgoing. But you're right. I have always liked to help people. And that's why I love my job. It's part of why I love my job. A big part about what I love is making sure that these kids get music. Because, to me, that's so important. And it always gets shoved aside as something extra, or it's after school, or it's just not part of the day. And, when I taught, I realized that I always loved those schools that were in the low income areas.
Mhm.
And I didn't make the connection until much later. And I thought, I love those schools. I love those kids. And now that I'm doing this job, I remember I loved those kids. I loved teaching there. And I want those kids to have that.
So what do you
So
love about that? Teaching to those kind of kids?
I think because they're so starry-eyed and they're not jaded. They're not the ones who say, well, I already learned that in my piano lesson.
Mhm.
And, I've had kids say that. And it's just knowing that you're bringing them something that they wouldn't get anywhere else. And their faces when you hand them a tambourine, it's as if you just handed them the moon. I mean, they're like, oh, what? I can play this? And it's just so exciting to see them. It's exciting to watch them learn.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are learning English. These are Spanish speakers. And of all the languages I studied, which there are many, that's the one I never studied and moved to California.
Mhm.
Great. Okay. So, I've learned how to teach them, but they learn English in music. And it's so much fun when that light bulb goes off, even about anything. They finally get something and they're so excited. And there's something about it that it's just so rewarding. Whereas, the other kids who already have piano lessons or they go to music classes, and they're not all like that one that I said, well, I already learned that. They're not all like that. But I love the feeling of giving people something that they wouldn't get anywhere else. And it just makes me feel like I'm making a difference in someone's life, even if it's for that 1 minute when I gave them that tambourine to play.
Yeah.
That's if I can make a difference for 1 minute, then I'm so happy.
Introverts love to contribute to meaningful causes, to make a difference. So I can understand
Oh.
everything you're saying. And also, I'm looking at everything that you're doing. There are a lot of introverts who are in the arts, artists, musicians, painters, visual artists, writers. So I think that because we are focusing on our inner world, we are more connected with our intuition, and that kind of draws us toward arts, culture, this kind of non-profit environment as well. But I also listened to an audiobook, and at one point they said that everyone resonates with music, no matter the culture, the age. He even gave an example of because he is a teacher that teaches children with autism to play an instrument and to learn music. And he said parents are so happy because they can do something, they can help their child in one way or another. So music is kind of a universal language. Everyone resonates, everyone gets emotional to certain songs. So what you're doing is really important. So I
Thank you.
totally understand what you're saying when you say that.
Yeah, and I've taught autistic kids too, and autistic adults, and they're amazing. They're some of the most incredible people I've ever met.
Yeah,
And they're so smart and they pick up music, and I learned from them. I always told them I learned more from you than I think I could ever teach you. They were just incredible. But yeah, music is that universal language. And these kids who are learning English, you don't really have to speak English to appreciate music and participate.
Yep, I
And
totally agree.
so, I don't have to speak Russian to be able to participate in a Russian music class. I can still participate and learn something and maybe learn a word. I tried to study Russian once and oof, woo,
I studied for 3 years.
oh, I'll
What
go
you
you.
about autism, autistic people, children, in my opinion, like we're saying, oh, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, you're not autistic, but it's just you're different. It's
Mhm.
not you're bad, you're wrong, it's something bad about you. It's just you are different. So I
Mhm.
like people to be more open to see, because everyone can bring something and help each other.
Yes.
So,
Everyone has something to bring to the table. Every single person.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
we talked about the nonprofit sector, arts, but you're also a leader, you're also a teacher, you're also in front of people. So, what helped you to get to that level? A leadership role.
um, I think it was just doing it over and over and over. And I mean, I always use this example and realizing I didn't die.
Mhm,
Nobody died. I'm okay. I made it through. And the next time I do it, I'm going to make it too.
mhm,
And just doing it again and again and again and realizing I can do this. And I'm still an introvert and I still can do this and I still enjoy it and I still can be good at it.
What do you think it helps you to be good at it? What kind of introvert characteristics help you to be good at it?
I think, you know, not being, for lack of a better word, pushy
Mhm,
and not, just understanding that everybody is different
mhm,
and that everyone comes from a different place. And maybe it makes me more patient sometimes, although I do have my moments, I will say.
mhm,
Um, and I think it makes me more understanding and I can help people in a different way.
mhm,
And if I see somebody who's like me and they're a beginning teacher and they're a little bit, nervous and afraid, and I can help them through it because I've been there
mhm,
and I get it. And, if I have a very extroverted teacher, that's great. And I can also help them, some kids are not going to respond that as well.
mhm,
You can't just say, come on, everybody participate. Come on, get out of your seat, raise your hand. No, you have to
mhm,
understand that some kids are just observing,
mhm,
and that's okay. And you can't assume that, oh, well, she's not paying attention because she's not singing
mhm,
or she's not clapping, she's not participating. And, that's okay sometimes. And I mean, there's a difference between just being disruptive and not participating. And you can tell, and I can help an extroverted teacher say, okay, that child is paying attention. And the more you get in their face and tell them, and you mean well, it's not like, you're coming from a bad place. The more you encourage them and try to help them, come on, let's do it, the further back they're going to go.
yep.
They need to feel like it's comfortable, it's safe, it's okay. And I guess what helps me be a leader is I have been there and I get it. I understand where people are coming from. I know how having, I have a good friend who's a total extrovert and I know what she's like. So
Mhm,
I know that some kids are total extroverts and they're going to thrive on, come on, let's do it. You try it. Come on, you could do it. And those are the kids I remember. Those are the kids I would watch first. I needed to watch them and I needed to see what they did. And then maybe at some point I felt safe because, okay, they did it. Now I know what I can do and
mhm,
I'm going to be okay. I'm okay to try it. But, like I said, somebody pushes me and I'm just going to be further back. That's not going to happen.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it helps me lead my teachers because they are all different. I've got introverted teachers, I've got extroverted teachers, I've got teachers who seem like extroverts and I don't think they are,
Mhm,
but it's hard to tell. And I guess understanding where people are and where they come from and also helping them relate to their students and helping them recognize this student is very introverted.
mhm,
This student's very extroverted and will respond well to this
mhm.
and maybe will be a leader in the class.
It's also about the environment they create, which
Mhm.
encourages introverts or extroverts or both. So what I'm hearing from you, you know how to read the environment, to read the children, how they behave in a certain environment. You try to adjust it so everyone feels comfortable and to contribute.
Yeah, I really believe you have to make a safe space for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just make it safe for the introverts, because
Mm-hmm.
then the extroverts are left out and they're bored or annoyed or whatever. And you can't just make it safe for the extroverts, because then the introverts are kind of worried and afraid and reluctant to do anything, or they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they just kind of sit there and like want to disappear. You know. And I've been there and I get it. So, creating a safe place for everyone and understanding that everybody's different, like we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And there really is no stereotypical introvert. We all think of that. And there's no stereotypical extrovert really either.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of I help my teachers make it a safe place for everyone. When we talk about how are we going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? And we can do a variety of activities. And, some of them are geared more towards the extroverts, but they're not leaving anyone else out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to just leave a group of people out or leave these kids out because they're quiet and just pretend they're not there and don't pay attention to them. Because that's what happens. You pay attention to the extroverted children. They raise their hand all the time. They'll volunteer for everything. And then those few kids over here, you kind of forgot them.
Mm-hmm.
They're so quiet, you forgot them. And they may not care that you forgot them. They may just be so glad you didn't look at them. But in the end, I think they do end up feeling forgotten and ignored sometimes. And they feel like, well, I never get to take a turn and nobody ever lets me play that instrument or nobody asks me that question. And, speaking of that, I was the kid who I didn't want to raise my hand. But if you asked me the question, you said, Kyle, hey, now, can you read this rhythm?
Mm-hmm.
And I would do it. And I was happy to be asked. But you kind of had to ask me because I wouldn't always volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of those kids are like that. And you can't forget them just because they're quiet. And you think, oh, they're so polite and they're quiet. I don't need to worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you don't need to worry, but they're still in your class.
You still need to engage them. And I think what you're saying it's so true in every kind of environment where there are more people, even in a team, in a company. If you are with a group of people, is the same. And when you were talking about what you do to adjust the environment, I was thinking you're kind of a conductor. You're looking at, oh, I need something more here, a little bit less here. Maybe I can
Mhm.
move this. So you adjust everything in time. You're not just fixed. It has to be this way or that way. You really pay attention to what's going on and what else you need to do or do differently to make everyone benefit from that situation.
Right. And, I was just thinking, and this just occurred to me. I don't know why this light bulb just went off here. I was saying that sometimes I just had to be asked. I wouldn't necessarily volunteer.
Mhm.
If you had put on LinkedIn, who wants to be on a live with me to talk about whatever, I probably would not have volunteered.
Mhm.
But you asked me, and oh, yeah, sure.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it is. It's not like I'm thinking, well, if you don't ask me, then no. But it's just something that sometimes I'm not going to volunteer. Are you kidding me? But if somebody says, hey, Kyle, would you like to talk about this
Mhm.
on a live? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Hey, Kyle, how do you sing this song? Can you sing it? Yeah.
Mhm.
It just takes somebody to ask. And sometimes that's all it is, even with other kids in their class. And I've noticed it when I taught. If you just ask them, they tell you the answer. They know. They don't want to raise their hand. And they're usually happy to be asked. They feel like, oh, somebody noticed me, even though maybe I looked like I didn't want to be noticed. It's a weird thing. I don't mean weird in a bad way. It's
I
just,
don't, yeah.
you
I
know,
don't think it's weird. I think that
it's
we don't
interesting.
like to be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone is asking, we're more than open to answer or say something or do something. So it's just a different
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
to whatever others are doing. So I was talking to someone, she's like, oh, I have a relative who is an introvert and I don't like her. I'm like, and she said she's a people person. Introverts are people person as well. We love,
Mm-hmm.
but we just behave in a different ways than extroverts. You
Yeah.
have to be aware. It's not that you're better than us or introverts are better than extroverts. We're just human beings, all of us.
Yeah.
You have to understand each other so you
Right.
can communicate and collaborate in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
And one last question I have, because I bring back this book. After I wrote it, people started reading it, and I got a few comments that, because I interviewed people who were kind of between, let's say, 25 and 60. And someone said, too bad that the book doesn't have something about introverts who are at a younger age. So, what advice would you give to someone who is at a younger age, or to yourself when you were at that age?
To myself, wow. I think I would say it's okay to observe before you are comfortable. And you don't need to be pressured into doing anything. If somebody tries to pressure you into, okay, try, come on, try.
Mhm.
You don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to. You're allowed to be who you are, and you don't have to be ashamed of it, and you don't have to hide. And you're still good at what you do. And, I guess just doing things over and over. Okay, if the teacher asks you a question, try to answer it. And I remember a time, also that I didn't want to answer it. It wasn't because I didn't know the answer, but, I suddenly became like, all right. And it was after observing, okay, I do know this answer. And it came to that point where, okay, I'm okay with being asked, but I'm not volunteering.
Mhm.
So I think, I would say observe and then give yourself a chance. Try it once,
Mhm.
and if you're scared or it doesn't work out, it's okay too. It's okay. You didn't fail.
Mhm.
Just try it, and try to crawl out of your comfort zone for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of things that when I was in elementary school, perhaps, I wanted nothing more. This is funny. I wanted nothing more than to sing this solo.
Mhm.
But I wasn't going to try out for that because that's scary.
Mhm.
But yet I would go home and sing away. My poor parents. I would sing away and, you know, but there's something about, being in that situation at school or in chorus and you're just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm too afraid. And I think if somebody had encouraged me and just said, no, it's a safe place. You can do this. All I need you to do is this. Come over here. We're just going to sing together.
Mhm.
And then we're going to, you're going to sing it with me. And then maybe you can sing it by yourself.
Yeah, some encouragement
Yeah.
to
And
be in a supportive and nurturing environment.
and I think the biggest thing is for those young people, you're okay. You're not weird. You're not strange. You're not, you belong. You're not just some weirdo on the outside who is not, you don't fit in. You do fit in. Everybody fits in somewhere.
Yep.
And, you don't have to be super confident. I'm not going to say, hey, come on, get that confidence, because I know that wouldn't have worked for me. I think, and sometimes it's intimidating to have extroverted friends, when you're young and you think, oh my, I'm like, I don't want to say anything. This person has so much energy and they're talking, and I'm just going to stand here because I'm not ready to say that much. But I would say don't be afraid to hang out with extroverted people if you like them, and there are people that you like, and don't be afraid and think, oh, well, they're better than I am because, they talk more and people like them better because, they talk more and they do more and they dance in front of people or whatever it is. And they may not be true. I mean, yes, they're liked, but maybe you are too. And you're just quiet.
Yeah. And people don't know how you really are if you're quiet.
Yeah. And I would also say to extroverts, go up to that quiet person and say hi.
Mm-hmm.
And, try not to overwhelm them, but say hi to them, sit with them at lunch, invite them to sit at your table, invite them to play, kickball with you or jump rope. We played jump rope as kids all the time. So, invite them to come over to your house, invite them to your birthday party and get to know them. And you'll see that, okay, they're quiet, but they're interesting, and maybe you'll become great friends like I did with my friend. But it's hard because, when you're young, it's really hard to understand that you're not always going to be that way. That things are you're always going to be this way. I'm always going to be shy. I'm never going to be able to sing on a stage and not shake and freak out. But, it's not true. You will be. And maybe it'll take you 5 years. Maybe it'll take you 20 years.
Whatever you want to do.
It's okay.
Could be singing, could be something else.
Yeah. And it's hard to say with young kids. I would just say, come out of your comfort zone sometimes and find a safe way to do it, or find somebody who makes you feel safe doing it.
Yeah.
Find a teacher who says, like I said, come sing it with me. We're not going to have an audition. Just come sing it with me. We'll sing it together. And then maybe you can sing it for me. And if you don't want to, that's okay. But if I'm singing it with the person, I know they can sing it and I can hear it. And then, you can say something like, okay, this time I'm going to sing really softly. I'm going to sing with you, but I'm singing very softly and you keep singing. And then sometimes they feel okay about that.
Nice.
And I'm using singing because that's my life, but
I think it's about anything. You can kind of translate the same kind of advice to any other field people are interested in. I also noticed that introverts get along very well with other introverts. So my advice would be, if you think that you're an introvert, that you're different, there are so many other people like you. If you see another people who doesn't talk, who just stay in the corner, go and ask them. They will be so happy that someone approaches them, and
I
they
know.
might become might open up. They might become your friends.
Yes.
Just have a nice conversation. So there are things that you can do. It's not just. I used to think that I'm different and I don't know how to blend in because all the other people were different than me. And when I start talking with other introverts, I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one. There is a whole world out there, especially looking in Canada. 48% of people who took the test, MBTI test for introversion extroversion, 48% are introverts. And in the States as well, it's 30-40. So it's not just a small percentage. We are
oh yeah, I know
the population. So there are people like you, and if you reach out, you'll see what happens.
And those are the people in high school. I think most of my friends were introverts, and we gravitated toward each other because of that. There was that quiet person, and sometimes that is the person you feel safe approaching because they're non-threatening in some way. I'm not saying extroverts are threatening, but you go and you think, okay, they're quiet like I am, and I think I can talk to them. And, I had a small group of friends in high school. I wasn't one of those people who had a humongous group of friends and went to big, huge parties. I had good friends, and I had a small group of friends, and we had a great time. And, they, so, yeah, I think I have friends from all different places and all different personalities. If I look at my friends, a lot of them are very different. Like if I put them all in a room together right now, it would be fun, actually. Like all my friends from around the world, and I do mean around the world, put them in a room together and see how it would be. Because they're all different,
As long as you're there and you kind of create that environment,
right.
everyone feels.
Because I have this group that I usually see, but then I have this other group, and I've never put them together, and that would be really interesting. Except that some of them live in Italy and Austria and France, and so yeah, and some of them live across the country from me. And if I could only just get us all together, that would be awesome.
That's a nice way to kind of finish this, because I'm looking forward to this kind of world when people can come together and just share and help each other and contribute, collaborate. And it doesn't really matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Each of us can bring something to the table. Whatever we're working on, we can brainstorm ideas, we can build projects together. There are a lot of things that we can do, each of us in our own way, but it doesn't mean that we need to be in silos.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, I hope I gave you a little bit of insight into who I am and why I'm like this and how I got to where I am. And sometimes I don't know how I got here. And I think I have other places to go too.
Oh yeah.
And
we have a whole life in front of us, and we don't know what other experience will bring us. So
and I hope I answered your questions.
Sure.
I hope I
so
gave
much.
you, if there's anything else you ever want to know, I'm here.
Great, thank you so much. And that's what I like about introverts. They are willing to help others. They are willing to share their experience. So yes, thank you so much for sharing all these things about yourself, about what you're doing, your perspective. I love it.
Oh, thank you. It was lovely to meet you too. An introvert like me. Yay.
Yeah. Great. So
oh my gosh.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.